next one is the Y, the blue solar water. Look, now you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the other one is Hawaii. Joe Vitale, you've got a few. Where's my friend Joe? Why don't you come and write some up here? Joe Vitale's car. Yeah. So you'll watch, because Joe Vitale is going to write some for you that you can use.
There's a reason that you have my business card, and it's not because I'm trying to promote myself. You all probably know where my website is and the office phone number. It's because when I first made this and I showed it to Dr. Hulen, he said it was a cleaning device. Now again, this is him speaking what he feels is inspiration, and he said that whatever was going on, that I can just write it down, I can sweep this across it, I can sweep it across me, by holding it, by giving it out, that I was cleaning. And so you all have a cleaning device right now, this one. He also had said that, and this does sound crazy, doesn't it? Some of this. As you all laugh nervously, yes. You know? You want to know how crazy this is? When he and I were here this morning and we were walking around and we were talking, we were checking out the room and talking to the walls, crazy enough in itself, right? He said, do you have a little tickle in your throat? And I said, yeah, I've been clearing my throat all morning. He says, I have too. He says, that's space being dust. I said, what? That is some space, as far as I understand, I might be misquoting him, space being dust that is part of the programming that is here that we are clearing through our voice. As we are speaking today, we are clearing space being dust. Now, this is not out of my mentality. This is not in my frame of reality. But I'm just going with it. And it's the same thing when I hand you a business card and I say, he says it's a clearing device. I'm just going with it. Okay? When he says that the name of the company that makes that car, which is Panoz, P-A-N-O-Z, is actually a clearing device name. And it's pronounced, if you want to pronounce it right, it's Pay-Nose. Pay-Nose, like P-A-Y. And then N-O-S-E. Pay-Nose is how you would pronounce that. Some of you know that occasionally Dr. Hulen has given people what I'll call spiritual names. And those, he's often been hired in the past to come up with a name for a company, to come up with a name for a person. And he will be in a meditative state, and he will allow divinity to inspire him with a name. Shortly after I met him, I asked him if he would do that for me. And I was more curious than anything. I'm fine with my name. I like my name. And I was just curious, what kind of name would he come up with if he went into meditation and he allowed it to come through? And he came up with the name that most of you, how many read my blog? Yeah, a great deal of you. You know I sign off with this. I never explain what it is, but it's Ao Akua. He's not correcting me, so I guess I said it all right. A-O-A-K-U-A. Ao Akua. Now, when I asked him what that meant, it was really beautiful. I actually looked it up in a couple Hawaiian books, and these are words that are being placed together to mean something. The definition that I was given that I understand means the parting of the clouds to see God. Now this is so relevant, because what was I saying earlier about what this whole purpose is to go back to the whiteboard, to go back to zero, space being dust coming off of him right now. See, did you hear him coughing? To go back to zero, and that what's getting in the way of all of this are nothing but thoughts. Even as you're sitting here, behind your thoughts, behind your feelings, behind your emotions is zero, is just the witness. So Ao Akua would be watching those thoughts go by, the parting of the thoughts, the parting of the clouds. What do you see? Divinity. Ao Akua, powerful cleaning device. Bruce wanted a reminder, powerful reminder, right there. Ao Akua, yes. Co-author on Eat and Grow Rich.
Yeah, that must have seemed pretty strange. I'm a diabetic, and my blood sugar was really low. I was about to pass out, and I thought, okay, no problem. Lisa went to get the blood testing. I put a little candy in my mouth, and Joe said, Bill, would you like to talk for a minute? And my mind is blank. I'm like, what is he talking about?
Oh,
and I'm listening to the story. I'm like, oh, that story. Sorry about that guy. So I do want to tell that. I've always been the skeptical, and I first discovered Joe from his Nightingale Conant audio program, and I could probably tell you an hour about the miracles that happened that led to us meeting and doing things together. But I remember when I ordered spiritual marketing from Amazon.com, and I got the book expecting more marketing stuff. And I start reading this book, and Joe's talking about talking to angels, and I'm like, talking to angels? No, this is not what I'm interested in right now. And I put it aside. At the time, I'd come out of the music business and was actually driving a limo around while I was writing my first book. I went from the back of the limo to the front of the limo. And 9/11 happened. And think about it, I was doing airport transport. 9/11 was my last day in the limo business. And suddenly, I didn't have a job, I didn't have a car, I had a house, and had a lot of credit card companies suddenly that were so friendly before were upset with me. And I thought, well, maybe I'll read that Joe Vitale book again and try this angels thing. And I sat down and did the exercises and did the 5 steps, and Joe said, get very specific about what you want, what kind of car you want, what kind of job you want, what kind of things. Well, I didn't, I'm a guy, I didn't follow the instructions perfectly, so I got 2 piece of crap cars in about 24 hours. And it's like, I got 2 cars, that's what I'd asked for. Then I got very specific, and I don't know how many cars it's been now, Joe, 7 or 8 I've attracted using your stuff. So Joe and I have become friends, and I don't know why I still remain skeptical at times of this stuff, but I met Dr. Len when we did the dinner in Austin, and Zero Limits since then, and Joe gave me an advance copy of the book, and I started reading it, and it's like, there's part of this that really appeals to me, part of it I'm not so sure about. But I sat down, and I'm an internet marketer, I sell e-books, and Joe and I have written books together. And I said, well, let's just see what happens. It was basically, Joe just made the comment earlier. He says, you don't have to set goals. You don't have to set tasks. Just do the stuff in front of you, and it'll come to you. So I said, okay, let's see how this works. And so I'm, thank you. Please forgive me. I love you. I'm sorry. Just doing it. I asked Joe, what order do you have to say them in? It doesn't really matter. I said, okay, no problem. So I did that, and I just started to notice that my sales, I have certain residual sales. People come to my websites and buy things. And if I do a mailing to my list, there'll be a big spike in sales. Well, in 3 days, my sales had jumped 42% in 3 days. A pretty significant amount. I hadn't done anything at all to my list. Just a sudden spike. It kept going up that whole week just from doing this stuff. So, again, I'll have to keep cleaning on being a skeptic, but the stuff works. And I'm anxious to hear Dr. Lynn later tell me that the diabetes thing's all bullshit anyway. And it saved me a lot of money on insulin. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. I'm glad you're okay. Yes.
The key is not to have expectations.
Ho'oponopono. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. If you haven't heard of it, brace yourself, because it's the most powerful, the most transformational, the most magical, the most miraculous technique I've ever come across. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. I've written 80 books. I've recorded 15 albums. I have 200-some products. I have a coaching program, certification programs. But nothing ever has had the impact in my life as Ho'oponopono has. I've been teaching it to other people since around 2005. There is great depth to it, though it's very simple. On the very superficial level, there's really only 4 phrases, and you're kind of saying them as a quiet prayer or petition. But there's so much more to it than that. And what I really want you to do is check it out. I want you to check it out for you, your family, your friends, and ultimately for the world. It's that powerful. And as I like to say, expect miracles.